Funding for the production of Folks is made possible in part by a grant from Union National Life Insurance, serving Louisiana and the South since 1926, a family-managed corporation providing whole life insurance.
Coming up on Folks, we'll visit Northdale Academy, a new school in Baton Rouge that gives dropouts a second chance for a high school diploma. We'll also meet actor Felton, who recently visited Baton Rouge to conduct an actor's workshop. And we'll hear some new music from the Southern University Jazz Band in Baton Rouge, all on today's edition of Folks. Hello everyone, welcome to Folks. I'm Sonya Masingale. You're probably already aware of the alarming number of high school dropouts in the state of Louisiana. Today's lead story takes us to Northdale Academy, an alternative school here in Baton Rouge that's giving dropouts another chance to complete their high school education. We aired this piece earlier in the season, and we'd like to share it with you again today in honor of Northdale Academy's first commencement exercises last month. News Director Rob Hinton brings us his special story.
Well, I was hanging around with the wrong crowd and I ran away.
That's David Wingard, a former high school dropout and runaway. David is back in school trying to earn his high school diploma.
See, I dropped out of school last year, at the beginning of the year. And I was out the rest of last year, and this year when school started, I wanted to go back to school.
That's Maxie Bowlin, another former dropout. Maxie realized that life without a high school diploma isn't easy. These are just two examples of the thousands of students who drop out of school in Louisiana each year. It is a problem that is not limited to any socio-economic level, race, or culture. During the 1984-85 school year, more than 800 students dropped out of East Baton Rouge Parish schools. That's the bad news. The good news is the community recognized the problem and decided to do something about it. Leading the attack against the dropout problem, the Baton Rouge Chamber of Commerce.
We are bad in leading the nation in dropout, illiteracy, teenage pregnancy, and the Chamber decided, let's form a task force on a couple of these problems and get involved instead of being critical. And dropouts became a major topic. We pulled about 25 people from the community together, religious leaders, social service types, school leaders, including the superintendent of schools. The mayor's office became involved, of course, business people through the chamber, and Southern University and LSU. And we sat at this table where we are today for many months studying the dropout problem. And we literally, instead of just talking about the problem, we said, let's get a model program in place and show Baton Rouge and the rest of the state, perhaps, that a community in partnership can address the dropout problem.
The results? Northdale Magnet Academy, an alternative school for grades 9 through 12. A career-focused school that allows students to pursue a high school diploma meeting all state requirements and at the same time explore careers. Northdale Academy opened its doors last fall with 120 students.
The goal of this school essentially is to keep the students in school, provide a place for them to go to school, and obtain their high school diploma.
That's Northdale's principal, Leroy Helire.
Traditionally, high schools are very large. I would estimate about anywhere from 1,000 to maybe as large as 1,800 students. And most of the students we have here were those students who were not actively involved in the high school. When I say get lost, the extracurricular activities, the choir, the band, they weren't involved in these things, little social clubs. And basically, I think most of them were like unknowns. And that was a part of the reason for them not progressing in school, for wanting to leave. Because we are so small here, only 120 students here, much smaller school, it's much more of a chance for that student to be appreciated, to be seen. When he does something, no matter how small, we can notice it. That's a major factor in students wanting to come to school here, because it's smaller and they're able to assume their identity here. They're able to participate and be seen as someone.
Not all of the students at Northdale Academy are former dropouts. Many are seen as potential dropouts. Some function a few grade levels below their peers in traditional school. Some were chronically truant. Some were substance abusers. And mostly all of them were getting lost in the traditional school system. Arthur Thomas is an 11th grader who said he was getting lost at a traditional high school in Baton Rouge.
I was looking for a change. I thought I needed a little more help, and I saw myself falling in grades, so I decided to give Northdale a try. You get a lot of attention. You get special treatment. Everyone pulls you to the side and say, hey, look, you need a little help or anything.
Lettimarie Deemer also left a traditional high school for Northdale.
Because as soon as I came here, they asked me what I liked to do, what I didn't like to do. Was I shy? They taught me to come out of my shyness and start joining activities, so it wasn't too much difficult.
Tell me about the activities here.
The student council, we make some of the rules. We plan the parties in the morning for February for Black Month. We read these reports to tell about Black history. And we also, we get the students together and tell them what we want to do, what we plan to do, and what we want to accomplish.
Diana Gonzalez, another 10th grader, says the move to Northdale has also been positive for her. What do you find special about Northdale?
Well, you can work on your own level, your own rate. They don't rush you to do your work. Just take your time.
Northdale provides its students a basic academic program: math, science, social studies, and English. There is also computer programming, and soon the curriculum will include physical education.
What we have here is a competency-based vocational educational program. Accompanied with that, we have social services. And through the social services that we have where we obtain psychological counseling for our students. If there's medical help, we try to get that. Those services we try to bring into the school here. If there are personal problems at home, we try to work with those also. See, being smaller helps us to do this. Those are the advantages in being small here.
Yet the school couldn't work without teachers who can stir motivation and keep the students in the classroom.
That boils down to individual teachers in the classroom. One thing, you have good teachers. And you have teachers. And by the way, I'm not taking anything away from traditional schools, but once again, I'm saying the smaller, it's much easier. You have teachers in the classroom who care about students, and then in return, the students know that these teachers care about them. That's what's holding them in the classroom, number one. And because we are small, because in some classes we can have maybe 6 students, or maybe we can have that student to come back to the teacher in the afternoon and work with that one-on-one relationship. That's what's holding them. That's the key, to let them know that it's important that they learn. We can't make them learn, but it's important that they know that we want them to learn and want to help them to learn.
The teachers, they're nice to you, and they make sure you're into the right thing. They keep you on the right track. And there's a small amount of students here, so they get a chance to pay more attention to you.
What do you think of the teachers here?
They are nicer. They get along with us better. They treat us like we're teenagers instead of 5-year-olds. If we act up to our age, that's the way they treat us. And they don't pick out the person they want to. They help everybody. They don't just help one person.
What about your grades? How do they compare?
Totally different. At Broadmoor, I had, D's and C's and some A's and B's. But here I get along better, so I make straight A's.
What about the teachers? Do you think they care?
Yeah, they had a choice to be here just like we did, and they seem like they really want to be here.
What about your grades? Do you see an improvement here?
Yeah, I was failing in Denham Springs, but I'm passing now. I make B's and A's. Yeah.
What is it about the teachers and the staff here that really makes you feel like they care?
That you get to know them, and like they get to know you and how you act and how you are, and it's just like they care more.
I made almost all F's last year. I made all B's for the semester.
Sherrie Spivey is an instructor at Northdale.
The desire of the students to complete their education, their willingness, even though it's not what they want to do sometimes, but that they're always still into, I want to get my education, that they recognize the value that a high school diploma is for them. Every day is different. I mean, you never know what's in store. I guess it's the same thing like their lives. You know, where they come from, they have lots of problems. And so we have to really be aware of how they're coming to us and then still do what we're here saying we would do. So it keeps you on your toes.
Student discipline is a major concern.
It's very volatile sometimes. And you have to know when to be able to be there and when not to. We haven't had a lot of trouble here as far as, given the kinds of kids and the backgrounds and the problems that they have, I don't think we've had a lot of trouble. It's always thought that the quiet classroom is the one where the children are learning, you know, so well and all this kind of stuff. And sometimes a noisy classroom actually can indicate where learning is happening. There's such a tendency, and I don't think it's just with teachers, I think it's human, for us to be in control. And so, like when you saw the young man that was talking in the back and the whole time, my whole thought was, I got to get him out of here. You know, I need to write him up. He needs to go to the office. And the truth was, when I took him outside, he was just finishing another paper for somebody else's class, and we just needed to talk a little bit. And, you know, he now knows what kind of behavior I'm looking for from him. So those are the kinds of things that you have to just, I would say, be with sometimes and give them a little room.
Career exposure is another important component of Northdale Academy's program. Maxie Bowlin is a part-time student worker for the Department of Environmental Quality.
They found it for me. They wanted, you know, somebody, a senior with good grades, and, you know, that put me in the qualification. And so we went down last Wednesday to the department, and I interviewed with Ms. Madden, and, you know, she wanted a high school student, you know, a worker. And, you know, when I, you know, talked to her and everything, before we left, she said, okay, come in Monday morning, you know, Monday at 1 o'clock, and, you know, we'll get you set up for your job. And, like, what I'm doing is, like, helping the secretary out and everything, you know, extra work they have to do and that they don't have time to do, run errands for them and stuff.
I understand you're in a very unique position, as you're going to be the first one to graduate, first and only one to graduate this spring. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel real good, you know, to be the first one out of a high school to graduate. It's amazing that it's me. You know, last year I didn't think, you know, I'd ever be back in high school and graduate, you know.
There is a very unique spirit at Northdale Academy, a spirit that you just don't find at most traditional schools.
They feel like they have a home, they feel proud that they have a school to come to, and that's important. And when we can, you know, when we can improve, and what I'm talking about is their self-concept. When we can improve that, man, we can work with them and we can get them to learn, and that's what's happening here. We're not fooling ourselves. We know it's going to take time, but that's the key. A lot of kids feel down on themselves. They've been put down by other people, but now you got to realize here, we're educating a lot of people. We're not only educating the student in class, but working with the parents, and we're helping educate that parent also. And teachers are learning. How do we adjust? How do we teach these kids? And thus that child who comes here who's been down and out, he feels better about himself, and we've changed that from a negative to a positive self-concept. Then they're going to learn, because all children can learn. It's just a matter of, you know, touching the key, you know, and unlock the door, and that's what's important.
Congratulations to Northdale's graduates. You will probably recognize Felton Perry from his many film and television roles. Perry was in Baton Rouge at Southern University to conduct an acting workshop for the Baton Rouge community. Here he tells us why workshops such as these remain a priority in his life.
Don't forget how you feel about your station in life.
Felton Perry is finally enjoying the results of over 20 years of acting experience. He is working steadily as a regular in the popular LA Law series and has appeared as guest star and in cameo roles in many television series and films. In spite of the hard work that went into his career, he was actually working as an actor before he made a conscious decision to be one.
The decision to be an actor for me is something that didn't happen until really, until I was actually doing it. When I got my first, when I got my equity card, I realized that I was an actor. And
How long ago was that?
Oh, that was, 1968. And so I guess it's been some time.
You're enjoying a big measure of success right now. You're working regularly. Are the risks getting any easier to take?
If a risk ever gets easy and there's not the nerves there, then I have to question whether or not it's a risk, or maybe then to have to question, am I getting a little lax in my attitude? A risk is always a risk. And success to me, I don't know if it builds a confidence for the risk, because before one ever has any successes, one has to take a risk. So I think success follows the risk rather than the risk following the success.
I'm not going to tell you what to do with it because I want to see what you interpret after you read it.
In spite of his busy schedule, Perry makes time to work with would-be actors in the black community to pass on his experiences to the next generation of actors.
It's great to work with young people. First of all, they bring you, fresh ways to think about things, which keeps me thinking, it's very good for that. And also we need, the younger people, because that's what it's about. We have to keep replenishing the garden. So, if we eat this year's crop and we don't have one planted, well, next year we starve. If we don't continue to nurture our young people to come behind us and to continue what we're doing and look for those after them to continue, then pretty soon there's no profession, there's no nothing. It just stops. So, yeah, I love working with young people.
Do you hate my father? Nah, I thought I did. Don't matter. Never really did. I hate him. Why? He's always on me about something. I love myself to death sometimes. Sometimes I hate myself to the same state.
Here, Perry is conducting mock auditions to help prepare these young actors for the rigors of a real audition.
There's questions you can ask yourself, which I don't want to go into, because then we're into acting and this is auditioning, and auditioning is about seeing what you bring.
Black actors say that in between jobs, times get very lean. Are you seeing that changing at all now?
I can only say that we have to do what we're going to do, and what was done yesterday has no bearing in this business on what's done today or what will be done tomorrow. It might make someone think of you, but, and then again it may make them think of you and say, well, no, because that person is too well identified with.
But do you see that changing for black actors? I mean, for the few white actors who have been able to make it, say, to your level, they manage most of the time to keep working consistently. We're talking about a small number of people.
Yeah.
But do you see that changing at all for black actors?
Well, if I'm to be any gauge, I would say yes, it has to be changing, because the work has steadily grown for me this time around. I did have a dry period of a few years where I didn't do that much work, and a couple of years where nothing at all was happening. But I didn't stop. I can't tell you why. I could have put myself up as some kind of super-duper person. I don't know why, except I just had to do it. And then the work has picked back up inside like the last 4 or 5 years. And it's now going up again. I mean, the people in the business, white, black, or otherwise, talk about your peaks and your valleys. And there's peaks and there's valleys in this business, a whole lot of them. So, you know, you just got to be ready for the slide down after you make the climb up, you know.
How do you tell young people to prepare themselves for the challenge of a career like this?
I think this is great that they do have a university in college, because it gives them so much that in a short period of time that, you know, will take me maybe 5 times as long, because I don't have a discipline and the program laid out for me as to what plays, what directors, whatever, production. That came to me over the years because I had to do it as I got the opportunity to. But as far as education being a prerequisite, just to go a little bit back in history, Henry Ford was just a guy with an idea. He wasn't any great shakes, but he had all the great shakes, the great educational minds working for him. And I believe, you know, so the preparation, where is the preparation? It seems to me the desire and the idea and the perseverance and the determination will make the difference.
The acting workshop was made possible by a grant from the Black Culture Commission in the State Department of Culture, Recreation, and Tourism. Earlier this year, we attended another workshop at Southern University in Baton Rouge featuring jazz musician Joe Sample. We wound up with more music than we could use in the program we put together at the time, and we'd like to share more of that concert with you here today. Here's the Southern University Jazz Band in concert under the direction of Eric Baskin. Well, today's program ends the 6th season for Folks. We hope that you've enjoyed our programs and that you'll join us in the fall as we begin a brand new season. We're hoping to do a little more traveling around the state in the fall, and we'll be planning our new programs while we're off the air. If there is an issue, event, person, or organization in your community that you would like to see featured on Folks, we welcome your suggestions. Please write to us. That's Folks, Louisiana Public Broadcasting, 7860 Anselmo Lane, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 70810. Well, that's it for this season. See you in the fall. Bye-bye.
Funding for the production of Folks is made possible in part by a grant from Union National Life Insurance, serving Louisiana and the South since 1926, a family-managed corporation providing whole life insurance.